What inspired me to do the work? I would say Christ. And I would say Christ on the strength because, when I wasn't, I would say just had knowledge of my personal Lord and Savior, I was lost. So now that, that when I dedicated my life to Christ, it kind of gave me more meaning to strive and live for. But family is important to me because it's foundational. And, coming from West Dallas, third generational family, just the things that was instilled in our family all the way to me was about, just being respectful and just being a stand-up, person of character. The driving force in my heart to improve what's going on in West Dallas, I would say, just growing up, I used to see what plagued the community, right? And it was so many, like I would say, it was so much love, but then too it was no real guidance. And now just to be able to be knowledgeable of some of the things and being able to share it with the kids or with the youth nowadays, I think that kind of keep me in a mode to where it'll prevent them from making the same mistakes that I made and then ending up in prison. One thing about it, in Revelation 12:11, he say, overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the words of our testimony. And, I'm not ashamed of my testimony. I had outlooks of trying to go to the NBA and things like that. And here it was, one bad decision ended me in prison. And I'm saying I was in prison for 15 years on a 30-year sentence. And in the midst of that time, I kind of used to do all the wrong things, even in prison. So now accepting Christ in prison and then just letting everything else go, I'm saying I started finding myself being redirected, and then it started finding ways to start seeing that I had a purpose-filled life. And I would say after going through that cycle with this organization, man, I think it empowered me to push more and then find out more about who I am, in society and who I am to myself. If I could sit down and have a drink with someone living or dead, who would that be? The old me, or I would say the younger me. And it would be a bunch of whys and a deep understanding of why I used to do some of the things I used to do, and and why I wanted to say some of the things I used to say and then just couldn't say it. And to understand me now versus then, it was a lot of things I ended up venturing into because I wouldn't get things out that the new me today will be able to try to get an understanding with them to make sure that I don't allow someone else that's around me to go down that same road. I'm strong on saying this to them, to the youth now, that man, think about someone other than yourself sometimes. And when my name ever come up, I want people to understand and say, man, he always thought about others more than himself. And then to do for others as you want others to do for yourself. And that would be the strong part of the legacy that I would want to stand for me, that I was willing to go the extra mile for someone else other than myself.